According to the National Electrical Code, outdoor lighting fixtures must be grounded if they are accessible to the public or exposed to weather conditions. Fixtures within arm's reach, like porch lights, must be grounded to protect people from electrical shocks. Fixtures exposed to rain, snow, or other elements must be grounded to prevent static electricity buildup that could cause a shock. However, outdoor lighting fixtures that are not accessible to the public and are not exposed to weather conditions do not require a ground. This often includes floodlights mounted high on walls or poles and are not easily reachable. The difference between floodlights and other fixtures often boils down to accessibility and exposure. Floodlights are typically installed in areas less accessible to the public, such as on rooftops or in backyards. They are also less likely to be exposed to direct rain or snow. As a result, they may not require a ground as long as they meet certain conditions. Firstly, the fixture must be isolated from ground by a non-conductive mounting surface, such as wood. Secondly, the fixture should not have accessible metal parts that could come into contact with people or animals. Thirdly, the wiring to the fixture must be properly insulated. Porch lights and paddle fans, on the other hand, are often accessible to the public and can be exposed to weather conditions. Therefore, they typically require a ground to ensure safety. It is always recommended to consult the manufacturer's instructions for the specific fixture being installed to determine if a ground is required. If there is any uncertainty about the grounding requirements for a particular fixture, it is best to contact a qualified electrician for assistance. Grounding is a critical safety measure in electrical systems. It provides a path for fault current to return to the source, allowing overcurrent protection devices like circuit breakers or fuses to trip and to energize the circuit. This protects people from electrical shock hazards and prevents damage to equipment. In residential electrical systems, grounding typically involves connecting the metal enclosures of electrical equipment, such as lighting fixtures, to a grounding electrode conductor, which is connected to a grounding electrode, such as a ground rod or a metal water pipe that is in direct contact with the earth for at least 10 feet. This grounding system ensures that if a fault occurs, such as a wire coming into contact with the metal enclosure, the fault current will flow through the grounding path back to the source, tripping the circuit breaker or fuse and interrupting the power supply. Without proper grounding, the metal enclosure could become energized, posing a shock hazard to anyone who touches it. In the context of outdoor lighting, grounding is particularly important because outdoor environments are often wet or damp, which increases the risk of electrical shock. Therefore, the NEC requires grounding of outdoor lighting fixtures in certain situations to protect people from these hazards. There are several key sections in the NEC that address grounding requirements for outdoor lighting fixtures. NEC Section 250.4 A1 requires that grounded electrical systems be connected to earth in a manner that limits the voltage to ground in the electrical system. This helps to prevent dangerous voltage levels from developing on metal parts that could be touched by people. NEC Section 250.20 B specifies the conditions under which electrical systems must be grounded. These conditions generally include systems that supply premises wiring and systems that operate at voltages above 50 volts to ground. NEC Section 250.32 covers grounding requirements for separate buildings or structures. If a separate building or structure is supplied by a feeder or branch circuit, it may be required to have its own grounding electrode system. NEC Section 410.130 C addresses the grounding of lighting fixtures. It generally requires that metal parts of lighting fixtures that are likely to become energized be grounded. There are some exceptions to this rule, such as for fixtures that are listed as double insulated or for fixtures that are installed in specific locations. The NEC also provides specific requirements for the type and size of grounding conductors that must be used. NEC Section 250.122 specifies the minimum size of equipment grounding conductors based on the rating of the overcurrent protection device in the circuit. It is important to follow these requirements to ensure that the grounding system can effectively carry fault current back to the source. In addition to the NEC requirements, it is also important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for the specific lighting fixture being installed. The manufacturer's instructions may provide additional guidance on grounding requirements or may specify the use of specific grounding hardware. When installing outdoor lighting fixtures, it is important to use appropriate wiring methods and materials. The wiring must be suitable for wet locations and must be protected from physical damage. NEC Article 300 provides general requirements for wiring methods, while NEC Article 310 provides requirements for conductors. When making connections to the grounding system, it is important to use proper grounding connectors and techniques. The connections must be mechanically secure and electrically conductive. NEC Section 250.8 provides requirements for making grounding connections. It is also important to inspect the grounding system regularly to ensure that it is in good condition. Check for any signs of corrosion, damage, or loose connections. If any problems are found, they should be corrected immediately. In some cases, it may be necessary to perform ground resistance testing to verify the effectiveness of the grounding system. Ground resistance testing involves measuring the resistance between the grounding electrode and the earth. A low resistance value indicates a good grounding connection. Ground resistance testing should be performed by a qualified electrician. When working with electrical systems, it is important to follow all safety precautions. Always turn off the power to the circuit before working on any electrical equipment. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and safety glasses. If unsure about any aspect of the electrical work, it is best to consult a qualified electrician. In summary, grounding is a critical safety measure for outdoor lighting fixtures. The NEC requires grounding of outdoor lighting fixtures in certain situations to protect people from electrical shock hazards. It is important to follow the NEC requirements, the manufacturer's instructions, and all applicable safety precautions when installing and maintaining outdoor lighting fixtures. If there is any uncertainty about the grounding requirements for a particular fixture, it is best to consult a qualified electrician. Consider an outdoor floodlight installed on the eave of a house approximately 12 feet above ground level. Is this floodlight required to be grounded according to the NEC? Since the floodlight is mounted 12 feet above ground level, it may not be considered readily accessible to the public. However, it is likely to be exposed to weather conditions such as rain and snow. Therefore, according to the NEC, a floodlight may need to be grounded. The final determination would depend on the specific interpretation of the local electrical inspector and the manufacturer's instructions for the floodlight. Let us look at NEC Section 410.130 C, which addresses the grounding of lighting fixtures. This section generally requires that metal parts of lighting fixtures that are likely to become energized be grounded. There are some exceptions to this rule, such as for fixtures that are listed as double insulated or for fixtures that are installed in specific locations. If the floodlight in question is listed as double insulated, it may not be required to be grounded. However, if it is not double insulated and has accessible metal parts, it would likely need to be grounded. Grounding can be accomplished by connecting the metal parts of the floodlight to the equipment grounding conductor in the branch circuit that supplies power to the floodlight. The equipment grounding conductor would then be connected back to the grounding electrode system at the service entrance. Consider a scenario where a metal floodlight fixture is mounted on a wooden pole in a backyard. The wooden pole is not in direct contact with the earth. In this case, the floodlight fixture may not be required to be grounded, provided that it meets certain conditions. Firstly, the wooden pole must provide adequate insulation to isolate the floodlight fixture from ground. Secondly, the floodlight fixture must not have any exposed metal parts that could be easily touched by people or animals. Thirdly, the wiring to the floodlight fixture must be properly insulated and protected from physical damage. If these conditions are met, the floodlight fixture may be considered to be effectively isolated from ground, and grounding may not be required. However, it is always a good idea to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the installation meets all applicable safety requirements. Now, let us consider a situation where an outdoor lighting fixture is installed on a metal building. In this case, the metal building itself is typically grounded. Therefore, the outdoor lighting fixture would also need to be grounded to the metal building. Grounding can be accomplished by connecting the metal parts of the lighting fixture to the metal building structure using appropriate grounding connectors and techniques. The connection must be mechanically secure and electrically conductive. In some cases, it may be necessary to install a separate grounding electrode system for the metal building. This would involve driving ground rods into the earth and connecting them to the metal building structure. The purpose of the grounding electrode system is to provide a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source. This helps to ensure that overcurrent protection devices will trip quickly in the event of a fault, protecting people from electrical shock hazards. It's important to differentiate between grounding and bonding. Grounding refers to connecting electrical equipment to the earth, while bonding refers to connecting metal parts of electrical equipment together to create a low impedance path for fault current. Both grounding and bonding are important for electrical safety. Bonding helps to ensure that all metal parts of electrical equipment are at the same electrical potential. This reduces the risk of electrical shock if someone comes into contact with two different metal parts that are at different potentials. In addition to the NEC requirements, it is also important to consider any local electrical codes or regulations that may apply. Local codes may have more stringent requirements than the NEC. Therefore, it is important to check with the local electrical inspector to ensure that the installation meets all applicable requirements. Here are some additional tips for grounding outdoor lighting fixtures. Firstly, always use appropriate grounding hardware and connectors. Secondly, make sure that all grounding connections are mechanically secure and electrically conductive. Thirdly, protect grounding conductors from physical damage. Fourthly, inspect the grounding system regularly for any signs of corrosion, damage, or loose connections. Fifthly, if there is any uncertainty about the grounding requirements for a particular fixture, consult a qualified electrician. Grounding is an essential aspect of electrical safety, and it is important to take it seriously when installing and maintaining outdoor lighting fixtures. By following the NEC requirements, the manufacturer's instructions, and all applicable safety precautions, one can help to protect themselves and others from electrical shock hazards. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician before performing any electrical work. Proper grounding ensures the safe electrical system for yourself, your family, and the public. When talking about accessible, this means if the general public would have access to this equipment, such as public parks, storefronts, and other areas. If the lighting is installed behind a fence that only you and your family has access to, this is no longer generally accessible to the public. However, depending on the height, it may still need to be grounded based on if a person can still touch it. This is typically considered within 8 feet from the ground. However, there is no exact height since it depends on the specific situation. If a person can reasonably touch it, it would be best to ground it. This also depends on other situations as well. For example, if the equipment has a higher chance of being touched by the public, such as a floodlight in a public basketball court, the electrical inspector may request it to be grounded regardless of height or accessibility, since there is a higher chance it can still be touched. The general rule is to install with safety in mind. The electrical inspector and qualified electricians can provide assistance. Let's talk about how electrical equipment is connected to ground. Firstly, there has to be a grounding electrode, usually either a ground rod that is 8 feet in length, or the metal water pipe buried in the ground for at least 10 feet. The grounding electrode should be made of a conductive material that is resistant to corrosion, such as copper or galvanized steel. Secondly, the grounding electrode must be connected to the electrical system using a grounding electrode conductor. The grounding electrode conductor is a wire that runs from the grounding electrode to the main electrical panel. The size of the grounding electrode conductor is determined by the size of the service entrance conductors. Thirdly, the main electrical panel must be bonded to the grounding electrode system. Bonding is the process of connecting all metal parts of the electrical system together to create a low impedance path for fault current. Bonding helps to ensure that all metal parts are at the same electrical potential, which reduces the risk of electrical shock. Fourthly, all electrical equipment must be connected to the equipment grounding conductor. The equipment grounding conductor is a wire that runs from the equipment to the main electrical panel. The equipment grounding conductor provides a path for fault current to return to the source. Fifthly, all wiring must be installed in accordance with the NEC and all applicable local codes. The NEC provides detailed requirements for wiring methods, conductor sizing, and overcurrent protection. It is important to follow these requirements to ensure that the electrical system is safe and reliable. Let's recap on how to install outdoor lighting safely. Firstly, always turn off the power to the circuit before working on any electrical equipment. Secondly, use appropriate personal protective equipment such as gloves and safety glasses. Thirdly, inspect all wiring and equipment for any signs of damage. Fourthly, follow the NEC and all applicable local codes. Fifthly, if unsure about any aspect of the electrical work, consult a qualified electrician. Outdoor lighting fixtures that are mounted on non-conductive surfaces, such as wood or fiberglass, may not require grounding if they meet certain conditions. These conditions include: firstly, the fixture must be listed as double insulated. Secondly, the fixture must not have any exposed metal parts that could be easily touched by people or animals. And thirdly, the wiring to the fixture must be properly insulated and protected from physical damage.